Spring is a good time to be out in the woods and enjoy the wildflowers. These flowers, known as spring ephemerals, only last a short time. But you can find new flowers every week in the spring. Besides adding beauty in the spring, they serve as important food sources for many pollinators.
One flower that is becoming more common is garlic mustard. This is an invasive species. That means it is not native to Indiana and it is crowding out our native plants and wildflowers. It was brought to the U.S. as an herb and has escaped into our woodlands. The deer will not eat this plant, and it gives off chemicals that inhibit the growth of other plants. This plant likes the shade, and so it's often found in woodlands and on forest edges. Garlic mustard is a biennial plant, and that means it takes 2 years for the plant to produce seeds. In its first year, it is a tiny rosette, fairly small and not very well noticeable. It has kidney-shaped leaves that are toothed along the edges. In its second year, it starts to grow tall and will produce tiny white flowers, and which turn into long seed capsules. It produces seeds fairly quickly after flowering begins. Once these seed capsules are ripe, they will burst open and the seeds will spread around in the air. The seeds can remain viable in the soil for several years. There are several options available to control this plant. Your main goal should be to stop seed production. So it's often not worth it to try pulling these first year seedlings. It's better to go after the second year plants that are going to be producing seeds this year. If we can cut off that seed production, we're going to run out the seed bank. One of the easiest ways to control this is pulling. They're fairly easy to pull up by hand. You just grab near the base and pull. You want to make sure you get the root out too, or it can resprout. When you hand pull them, you want to dispose of them correctly. If you just leave them on the ground, they can be able to produce viable seeds. So one method is to bag them and dispose of them properly, like in a landfill, or you could let them dry out like on a driveway and then burn them. Another option is bury them fairly deep underground. That way any seeds that have been produced will not be able to sprout. Other methods include herbicides and burning with propane torches. With these methods, you want to be careful that you could harm desirable vegetation. Pulling garlic mustard always goes faster when you have lots of hands to help you out. So by pulling this all, we've made a whole lot more room for our native plants and wildflowers to grow. Although, when I pulled a lot, I noticed a whole lot of the first year seedlings that were just starting to grow. So next year, those will be blooming and we'll have to come back and pull those out to prevent the spread of that seed. Speaking of this, we already have, you haven't been blooming very long, but I'm sure there's viable seeds in here. So I'm going to take this big pile and put it on the burn pile so we can properly dispose of it and not spread these seeds. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below or reach out to me by email. Thanks, and have a good day.